this exercise is just such a great way to start the year, actualize your goals, and then start breaking them down so that you can be like, okay, great. I know what actions I need to take this week so that I can hit these goals this year. Happy freaking New Year, you guys. Today, I wanted to do an episode on planning for 2026. So planning for UGC, but also other areas of your life, and kind of just wanted to share the method that I use for planning out my goals for the year, and then how to break that down into actionable steps, quarterly milestones, all of that stuff. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not a great long-term goal person. Like, I'm really good with short-term goals and like short-term wins, but in terms of seeing like long-term plans, that is a lot harder for me and harder for my brain to kind of wrap itself around. So I really like to break down my longer-term goals into short-term milestones and wins so that I can stay motivated throughout the year and actually continue to work towards those goals, and not just like reach November, December and be like, oh my God, I had these goals. LOL, didn't do any of them. Because I know we've all been there. But yeah, so the method that I use is, well, I guess what we'll do is I'll kind of give you questions that you need to ask and then guide you through the exercise. So first question that I want you to ask yourself before you do anything is, what feelings are you chasing after or trying to cultivate in 2026? So are you trying to cultivate more excitement in your life, more love, more intentionality, more calm, more ease, more abundance? Do you want to experience more joy? What are the feeling words that you are wanting to cultivate the most in 2026? I would do no more than 3 main words, but really just think about this for a second. Write those words down. And then when you're going through this exercise and writing down your goals and action items, I want you to literally cross-check these goals with those words and be like, do these goals align with the feelings that I'm trying to cultivate this year? Because I think we tend to set these goals that we think we're supposed to hit or we should be doing in our business or in our life or whatever, but they don't actually align with like the life that we want and the feelings that we want in our life. So I really want you to think about what you are trying to cultivate this year and then cross-check your goals against those words and those feelings to make sure that you're in alignment with the year that you are trying to have. Okay, so first thing that you are going to do is kind of divide your life into 4 different categories. So you're going to have health, wealth, relationships, and self. So just write these down. What I like to do is have a piece of paper that I break into 4 quadrants, and I just write at the top each of those keywords. So health, wealth, relationships, and self. And then under that, you're going to write your 3 main goals for each category for that year, up to 3. If you don't have 3 main goals for each one, that's totally fine, but you can do kind of up to 3 big goals for each category. For example, for health, maybe you want to implement a workout routine. Maybe you want to lose 10 pounds. Maybe you want to better manage your anxiety. Like, what are the health goals that you have for 2026? And then wealth. So this can be career, finances, those sorts of things. Maybe one of your goals is to pay off your credit card debt. Maybe a goal is to have your first $10,000 month. So whatever your goals are for 2026, for wealth, write those down. That's where UGC would come into play. So if you have specific UGC goals. This is where I'd write down that, maybe even just for this exercise and because of what this podcast is, if you want to make another section that's just UGC focused, maybe go ahead and do that as well, so you can make some more specific goals and action plans for UGC as well. Relationships. Maybe your goal is to get in a relationship. Maybe your goal is to plan more girls' nights with your friends. Maybe your goal is to deepen your relationship with your partner, like whatever those major goals are. For self, it could be things like maybe you want to start going back to therapy, and maybe you want to read a book every month. So these 4 different categories are going to choose up to 3 main goals that you have. And then what you can start to do from there is break those down into smaller milestones. So let's say for wealth, you have a goal of having a 6-figure year. How can you start tracking that now and quarterly so that you know that you're on track to actually do that? So maybe your smaller goal for Q1, which would be January, February, March, is to make $20,000 in income. Maybe for Q2, it's to then make $25,000 in income, right? So you want to create these smaller goals that you're going to be able to track earlier in the year and throughout the year that will help you achieve that larger goal that you're trying to meet by the end of the year. So break each section then like into quarters and be like, okay, Q1, then what's the main goal for goal number 1, right? So this feels confusing without giving you guys a visual, but like say in health, you have that you want to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year. Great. Maybe in Q1, you want to lose just 3 pounds. Awesome. So then have that be your main goal for Q1 for losing 20 pounds. And then under that is where you can actually start to get specific with your action items. So like, what are you actually going to do or implement to lose those 3 pounds over the next 3 months? Are you going to reduce your sugar intake? Are you going to try to walk 10,000 steps a day? Like, what are the actual things that you're going to do in order to make that happen? And up to you how you want to track that, how you want to hold yourself accountable. But obviously that's the hardest part, right? But what we're trying to do here is like actually break everything down so that you can see it in front of you and be like, okay, these are the goals by this timeline. I can do this month to hit this smaller goal that's going to add up to my bigger goal. So you don't just feel overwhelmed by the idea of having to lose 20 pounds. Because the idea of losing 3 pounds in 3 months, I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't sound so difficult, right? So we want to break those down into smaller milestones, and then those milestones break down into tasks and kind of like a to-do list of what you need to do that quarter. From there, you can break it down by month, by week, things like that. But how are you going to actually achieve those goals? You're going to do that for every goal that you have in every section. So you're going to want to, take some time to actually think through these goals, think through the action items that you're going to have to take so that you can really get down in the nitty-gritty with this. I use a platform or system called Monday.com, and that's my to-do list tracker. And so what you can do in Monday is kind of put a date that you want to like complete something by. You can create daily tasks or weekly tasks to kind of keep you on track. So having some sort of system like that is going to be super helpful in actually tracking these things. So whether that's a physical journal or notebook that you keep at your desk, whether that is a digital like platform that you use to keep track of things, I highly recommend actually putting this somewhere where you can like check off whether that's like daily habits that you need to do to reach some of these goals, or like weekly tasks that you need to complete. But I would have a space where you can put this stuff, so you can literally just go and cross-reference and be like, okay, like here's my yearly goal sheet, like how's my progress, how am I doing? And you can check in like every week, every day, every month to see your progress. And then, yeah, I would do a section for UGC. So if you're here, that means you're probably interested in getting into UGC, or you are a UGC creator. And along with that comes goals and milestones that you're going to want to hit. So maybe this year, your goal is to make $50,000 with UGC. Maybe your goal is to quit your job and pursue UGC full time. Maybe your goal is to, get a vacation paid for with UGC. How are you going to achieve that? What are the quarterly milestones that you can be hitting to try to achieve that goal? What are the action items that you need to take? How much time per week do you need to be putting into UGC? And again, always cross-reference this with the feelings that you're trying to cultivate in 2026. So, for example, if one of the main feelings that you're trying to cultivate is, ease and this idea of time freedom, maybe it doesn't make sense to have like a super hard goal of like hitting 6 figures with UGC, because that means you're probably gonna have to put a lot of time into UGC, and you might not be achieving that goal of time freedom and ease. So I would just, again, cross-reference those goals with those feelings and those words that you're wanting to cultivate and make sure that they align. I think this exercise is just such a great way to start the year, actualize your goals, and then start breaking them down so that you can be like, okay, great, I know what actions I need to take this week so that I can hit these goals this year. And then maybe even give yourself some rewards. So like by the end of each quarter, if you hit those smaller milestones that you set, then give yourself a reward. Be like, okay, great, if I do this many workout classes by the end of March, I will allow myself to buy a new workout set. Or, just small rewards that you can give yourself, and then maybe a bigger reward at the end of the year if you really do reach those big goals, kind of to help keep you motivated throughout the year. I hope this is helpful. This is kind of what I like to do each year, and I love it. I think it's just a great exercise and helpful to see just like, what is in this brain up here? What am I actually working towards? What feelings do I want to cultivate? And helps you kind of get out of your head and write things down in a very practical way so that you can see, okay, these goals are possible. Or maybe you write down a goal and you're like, okay, so actually maybe that's a little out of reach, but, or like that doesn't quite align with the feelings I want to cultivate. But if we just tweak it a little bit to be this goal, then that makes more sense for my life. So writing these things down just helps a lot. And yeah, I would love to know what your guys' goals are and what you're cultivating this year. If you want to drop it in the comments, message me on Instagram. I am super curious to know, and I love interacting with you guys. So let me know what your goals are. What feelings are you cultivating? And we're back. We'll have a new episode next Monday and every week following. And I hope you guys are having a great start to your year. I'll see you guys all in the next episode. Bye for now.
If you want to become a UGC creator and get paid to travel, then my UGC Accelerator is for you. Fast track your UGC career with over 40 video trainings, live weekly Q&A calls, and direct access to me as your UGC coach. You'll get personalized feedback, accountability, and a proven 3-month roadmap to start getting paid UGC deals. Plus, an active community of over 100 other creators also on their UGC journeys. Some students have earned over $2,000 in UGC deals within weeks. And I have students like Lene, who quit her nannying job just 4 months after starting the program because of UGC. Or Katie, who's made over $12,000 in her first few months of pitching. Plus, there's a no-brainer guarantee. If you don't make back your investment in the program, I'll give you a full refund. So if you're ready to take UGC seriously, click the link in the description to learn more.